I appreciate that. I really feel honored to be able to be here with you today and talk about the work that we do.
Welcome to Live from LA County podcast. Dr. Jackie Contreras.
Yeah.
I am first and foremost, I want to say how excited I am to just get a moment to just chat with you about what you do, how you do it, your amazing department that is working so diligently to help the lives of so many people in the county of Los Angeles. Your department, the Department of Public Social Services, I've been in the county for a minute, so I know that you all serve over 4 million folks, which means that tangentially you touch everyone, right? You've touched somebody's family member, someone's life. And so I'm excited to hopefully share a little bit more about you. Are you excited?
I appreciate that. I really feel honored to be able to be here with you today and talk about the work that we do.
Excellent.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's start easy, right? And when I say easy, most of the folks that we've had the great pleasure of talking to, they all have an LA story, right? What is your LA story? Did you grow up here? How did you get here? How did you end up in LA and then ultimately in LA County?
Yeah. So I did not grow up here. I grew up in the central San Joaquin Valley. Okay. Both my parents were field workers. They were both born in East LA, but the work was in the Central Valley. And so that's where they ended up. I was raised by my mother and my grandmother. So 2-parent household. Okay. I came to LA to go to UCLA. It was kind of, I had a good friend that encouraged me to apply. I applied to see what would happen. I ended up going, got a full financial aid, and I was able to get my bachelor's degree from UCLA. And so I pretty much stayed in LA my entire adult life. I worked for El Centro Human Services, which was a mental health agency in East Los Angeles, and had intended to continue working there. Unfortunately, the agency went bankrupt. Wow. And I was picked up by the county. Went bankrupt on Thursday. Monday, we were county employees, the whole bunch of us. So when people say we can't do things quickly,
I'm just saying
we can do things quickly.
Absolutely.
So started working with the Department of Mental Health. And then from there went to child welfare, always kind of focused on children and families.
Yes.
And now with public social services. So I've been all over the county. I lived in Cerritos and Glendale. I worked in Antelope Valley, in South LA, like really all over. So
awesome. Yeah. So how has that, because I did see you worked for DCFS, you worked for the Department of Mental Health. Okay. Now you're at DPSS. How has that helped you collaborate better with our various departments here in the county and bring what DPSS is responsible for into and helping the lives and constituents of the other departments?
Yeah, I think everything I've learned throughout those experiences has been valuable. So I kind of understand the story underneath the story, what you normally see. And I think of my career sort of as moving farther and farther upstream, like helping people before they come to the attention of child welfare, helping people before they're experiencing extreme poverty, like figuring out how we can help them before mental illness has really sort of taken root. And so that's what's exciting to me about the work at DPSS. We talk about it as being a safety net. I've heard recently people using more language of a springboard. Yeah. And so I really feel like we have the opportunity to kind of enter earlier on before families are in crisis in order to support them.
Got it. Forget the whole safety. I mean, by the time you're at the safety net, right? Is that still a term that's used?
Well, I mean, I think we think of it really broadly. Okay. We are the safety net for the county. Generally. When people, we have programs that are definitely for people that have no resources, and we help sort of assist them in those moments. And we know that it's not just about, giving somebody something in that moment. It's really about figuring out how we can support them, and not just us. That's where the collaboration you asked about comes in. Yes. Like, how do we work with our partner agencies to make sure that we're maximizing benefits to them and opportunities to them?
Got it. I have found you to be a really good leader here in the county.
Thank you.
I am serious, right? Your department has and you know it's funny, we just used the word springboard, right? We have had the pleasure here in DHR of getting the benefit of many of the individuals that you have trained. They end up in the CEO's office, they end up around the county, and your department as an employer has been the start for so many individuals. And I also love the story of so many individuals who are in higher positions and they've had they got that start with you. Talk to me about your brand of leadership, and who you are as a leader.
Yeah, I think, I talked about coming from a family of field workers. Some people say farm workers, but my mother always referred to herself as a field worker. Um, and so very, very humble beginnings.
Yeah.
And I think I always try to remember that when I'm thinking about how we can best serve people, to serve them with respect, to serve them with dignity, to remember that people always have a story. And whether it's somebody we're serving or whether it's one of our employees, right? I really strive to help people thrive, to get to do their best, whatever their best looks like. And I think that, in the county with as many employees as we have, people often ask me, how do you manage 15,000 people? To me, you manage it through supervision and through relationships.
Yes.
Right. So if the people that report to me, if I'm helping them thrive, I'm supporting them, right, and helping them to develop, and they're doing the same for the people that report to them, like we can do it throughout the organization. And so that's I don't know if that's a leadership approach, but those are some of the things that I always try to keep in mind.
Yeah. I think that I know that is really important, right? Like you can't do it alone.
No.
And so if I think one of the principles that we try to impress upon our up and coming managers, our leaders here in the county, is you need to build the bench strength. You need to build people underneath you who are actually doing the work, touching the people. So those principles that you just talked about run through and through the organization. So I completely appreciate that. Right? How do you like to show up at work? Do you understand that question?
Well, I think I do.
Okay.
You can let me know if I missed the mark.
All right.
Authentically, 100% authentically. Who I think sometimes we limit ourselves because we don't bring our whole selves to the job. We feel like we have to behave a certain way, or there's only certain things we can talk about. I think it's important for us to bring all of our strengths, all of our experiences. We talk a lot about people with lived experience, and it's absolutely vital that we engage them in the conversations. And we all have lived experiences in different ways. And I think if we don't bring our whole selves, right, we distance ourselves. It becomes sort of an us and them. Yes. And so when I show up, I want to know that I'm bringing my authentic self. I get caught up sometimes like anyone else, but I try to acknowledge that when I catch myself doing that. So I'm not sure if that hits the point that you asked about.
It does. It does. I would 1,000% agree that, unless you show up and bring all of you into your workplace, I hadn't thought about it from the perspective of what you just shared. But I do 1,000% agree with that point. Let me go into we've asked a couple of people about a moment or a mentor or something that kind of guided you to be like where you are and be at the moment that you are right now. Is there someone that you look back on and go, that was a pivotal moment for me? And there may be any.
I'm thinking of my swearing in, and I think I tried to honor 5 or 6 people, but I will pick one of those people because I think they were in a really critical position in the county.
Yes.
And this was a division chief when I was in mental health, Yvette Townsend. Incredible leader. A lot of people thought she was really tough. and maybe even hard to work for at times. But that was because she had really high standards, and she helped me meet those standards. And she really kind of saw the strengths in me, and asked for more, pushed me, challenged me, and so she's someone that I was able to work with for a few years, and I feel like I really grew. So I went from a program head to a division chief level. I actually ended up in her position after she retired. But I would say she really stands out. I think that's such a critical role of management, right? It's still sort of newer managers are coming up, and people look up to their division chief. They may not even know who their department head is, but that person is really pivotal.
Got it.
Yeah.
Finding those folks who are going to challenge you to not stay where you are, but to continue to grow. I love it. So let me get into a little bit more about your department, because I'm not sure if our listeners will fully appreciate. I gave a few facts on your department and what you all do, but can you tell us a little bit about your department's mission and about who through and through DPSS is?
Yeah, I think I want to work in springboard into our mission. That's not in there.
Okay.
That's not in there right now. But we administer all of the public benefit programs, the federal, state, and local public benefits. And so when you think of our department, things like health insurance, right? So Medi-Cal, which is Medicaid at the federal level, which has been in the news quite a bit, right?
Yes.
That's one of the programs that we administer. We administer the CalFresh program, it's known as SNAP nationally, and previously known as food stamps. And I even remember it when we used to stand in line to get those subsidies, right? So we administer that program. We also administer cash aid programs. So we have our CalWorks program for families, and we have our general relief program for individuals or couples without children. And so those are some of the main programs we administer. We also administer the in-home supportive services program, which is for aged, blind, and disabled individuals, which includes many seniors. It includes some children with disabilities. And so that's the other sort of main program. And then there's some smaller programs for immigrants, some work programs, those kinds of things.
Okay. One of the things I was reading, the team pulled some information in one of your profiles, right? Okay. One of the things online. And it talked about how you are working to get rid of the stigma about social services, and to let folks know who may be listening, right? Who may listen to this, to know that we are there for them, right? Can you talk to me a little bit about that messaging that I read a little bit about?
Yeah. So this is something that's really, really important to me. Yeah. I was raised in poverty. We received cash aid, food subsidies, health insurance. My mom made sure I made it to the doctor, to the dentist on a regular basis. Like, I had all of those resources, went to school on financial aid. Like, I have benefited work programs. I have benefited from all of these programs. And I don't carry shame about that. My mom worked 30 years in the field with no health insurance, no vacation, no retirement program, right? Like, these disadvantages that many people have experienced, I believe it's the role of government to support people in need. And so I do want to see that stigma change. And I think it's really sort of a combination of two things, I think, that keep people from coming to our department. One is the stigma, right? Like the concern. And right now, some very real concerns around safety and whether or not this is something they should pursue. And then our programs are incredibly complex. And this goes back, they were established this way. In many ways, some would argue they are designed to keep people from applying. Mm-hmm. Or to make sure that people fall off and have a hard time getting back on. So those two things, I think, really, really sometimes discourage people from applying.
Got it. Do you have a story about a participant, one that you kind of refer to as kind of that success story that you've seen? And it doesn't necessarily need to be a participant from DPSS, but maybe it was when you were a psychologist, mm-hmm. right? Maybe it was there where you saw where you actually helped and saw the transformation that government can have in people's lives.
Yeah, so I'm going to go way back when
Let's
I
go.
first started working.
Let's go. Let's do it.
Psychologist.
Let's do it.
This was a system of care program. And I was actually the mental health person. We had a child welfare person, we had a probation person, and we had an education person.
Okay.
And the four of us plus a parent advocate. So really the five of us would work as a team to support individuals. We would get referrals directly from the board, right? They would be getting calls on young people who are at risk of going into care. And so we would wrap services around this young person. It was a very individualized approach, right? It wasn't cookie cutter by any means. And we figured out sort of what that person needed in order to be able to succeed. We developed relationships with their family. We helped create a network of support. So we didn't treat anybody sort of in isolation.
Yes.
And we learned from one another. After a while, you couldn't even tell who the probation person was or the education person, because we were all sort of working together and listening to one another and really able to see. There was one story. It was a young girl in the Antelope Valley. She was going to be placed out of in a residential setting by the education system. And we started to work with her. That there wasn't a bed ready. So we had to, in the interim, work with her. And she was successful. And we had to fight to keep them from putting her in a residential treatment. We had already demonstrated the fact that this was successful.
Yeah.
And it was tough to fight the system because they already had a plan for this young woman. So there were many examples like that are sort of the foundation of how I think about the work and how I do the work.
Yeah, that's awesome. Saving lives, right? And helping people navigate the system. Are we continuing to do that? I mean, I know things change and I get it, but when we talk about that collaboration that we talked about a bit ago, is that kind of collaboration continuing to happen, or is that something we kind of aspire to get to? Because I know it must be expensive.
I think we do it in different places.
Okay.
So we have a linkages program where we work with DCFS really closely to support families. A lot of the work that we're trying to do with the PPSGC, the Prevention and Promotion Systems Governing Committee, right? We're trying to set up an infrastructure where we can support that work to happen in a more intentional way and consistent way. I think the Office of Child Protection, is doing a lot of this work, a lot of the collaborative work, mental health, DCFS. Like there's many people that are wanting to do this and doing this to a certain degree. I don't think that we've been successful in really embedding it in the way that we do the work. That's just a natural way. Our dollars often pay for specific programs. They don't necessarily pay for more preventative efforts.
Okay.
Yeah.
How are you all? Because I'm wondering, to that point, will there be in the future, as we've been talking about AI and technology and the possibility that sometime in the future technology might help to solve some of those issues and create kind of the help with prevention. Are you all thinking through any AI technology innovations that
that is such a huge question.
It is. And
so I think so for our department, we definitely want to make sure that we're streamlining our processes as much as possible. So some of that is just technology, right? And then there's artificial intelligence as well in terms of thinking of that. The way that I frame, because there can be a lot of tension in this space around what does it mean for our workforce. The way that I tried to frame it is that I want it to serve to do some of the technical work that we have to do to create space for the relational work that is so critical. So if a worker has to worry about, what buttons to click and what information to draw down and has to, go searching for things, right? That takes a lot of energy and a lot of time. If some of that can be automated in a way that it can be done more efficiently and they have more time to be present with the person that's in front of them and really sort of assess how can we be helpful? That's kind of one of the questions we try to ask ourselves. Like, are we helpful ultimately to the customer? And that takes time to develop that relationship. So that's the way I think about it. But, we're doing a ton of work, I think, countywide in this space to really make sure that we automate whatever it is that we can, and that we access information as best as we can.
I saw a term, and it may be related to your last response. And it was, you think of yourself, you described yourself at one point as a systems thinker, right? What is that? What is a systems thinker?
So,
and you just gave me the hugest smile. Like,
I'm trying to, as you're saying these things, I'm like, where did he get that from? Like, where did he find that?
It's the staff.
So I'm a puzzler. I like putting together puzzles. The harder, the better. So I think that's kind of one of my natural strengths, is to kind of look at all of the pieces and figure out how do they fit together, and how can we do the work? How can we improve the way that we do the work? Never losing sight, the term North Star is used a lot, but never losing sight of the fact that there's a person in front of you that you're trying to help. So you can create all of these systems, but ultimately, if it misses the mark with the person in front of you, then it's not going to be successful. And having been, I not only was in DMH, DCFS, and now in DPSS, I also worked for LAUSD as a pre-K teacher. Like I've had these different experiences from different systems. And I know that if we can work more effectively together and streamline things, families, individuals are not compartmentalized. I don't have these needs here and these needs here and these needs here, right? I'm a whole person. So how can we bring things together in a way that, it's I don't want to use the word transparent, like the customer we're trying to help doesn't need to see all of those pieces, right? They want to be helped. They don't know. Yeah. They don't know if you're a therapist, or if you're a probation officer, or if you're they just are looking for help. So that's how I kind of think about it.
Got it. Because all of these different systems people can get caught in it, but never get the real help that they potentially need. Yeah. I can appreciate that. I'm going to ask you about, do you have a personal mantra or something that really keeps you connected? You just mentioned puzzles, and I can't recall if during the LA Management Council, for those managers who are here, right? So they had this game where they brought pictures of things that are associated with things, hobbies, etc., that are associated with departments. And I believe yours was a puzzle.
It was a jigsaw puzzle. Yeah,
fascinating.
Absolutely.
Do you have a personal mantra or something that you do? Maybe it's yoga, maybe it's, I don't know, exercise, aside from the puzzles, that also helps to keep you grounded.
So I do like to walk. I recently had foot surgery, so I'm recovering from that. So I'm just getting back up to, a few miles a day. So that's definitely something. It's sort of, I have paths near my house, kind of out in nature. That really sort of grounds me. It's how I like to start my day usually. Yeah. So I would say that's something. I think I'm trying to strengthen my faith. When you said mantra, the first thing that came to mind is our God is an awesome God. Like, I don't know if you know that song, but that was the first thing that came to mind. So after I go walking on the way here, right, that's something I like to listen to. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Centered in your faith.
Very much.
I love it.
Yeah.
I'm wondering, and I'm going to get to a little fun segment that we have as part of this.
Oh no.
Come on. It's going to be fun.
Okay.
And you, my very first question, you're going to nail it. Legacy, right? You have a significant number of employees in this county, right? And they, some of them are going to hear this. And I always love as a department head, what's your message to your employees, right? Those at DPSS and those who might want to work at DPSS in the future. Is there a message that you would kind of leave them with? And maybe even leave a message for future leaders who may not be part of your department, but may want to get to leadership in the department that they're in?
I feel like that's a question I should have given a lot of thought. So I'm gonna do my best. I'm really proud of the fact that DPSS is like an entry into the county. I think it's frustrating sometimes for us because people move through so quickly. But I think it's a way to really like ground people in what the county is, to do your work with pride and integrity, right? Like, I think that that's a positive thing. And so I see it, I'm trying to reframe it as something positive. And all those folks you talked about that are out there, they're welcome back anytime, right? Like,
Right.
we'll take them back as well. You know, some of this is probably my grounding as a psychologist, but when a client would do well, a patient client would do well, I wanted them to walk away feeling like it was all about them. Like, I feel like I did my job well.
Yeah.
They feel accomplished. They feel like they did something. I didn't need credit in that. It was just a good feeling to see them thrive.
Yes.
And so I think that's what I would want for my department as well. Not looking for like accolades or recognition, but if people are thriving, we're doing our jobs well. And so again, it's kind of a North Star issue. I would want folks to, remember why you're here, remember the impact that you can have. And it's about the person that you're trying to help. It's not about you or even necessarily your department.
I can appreciate that. Right. I think that's a sign of a amazing leader, right? It is not about the credit. It is not about me, right? It is about the people that we serve, especially in this space, right?
Yeah.
In this space, unifying the individuals in this county and your department specifically to just stay focused on helping, and that'll get them everywhere, right? So I have a little game I want to play with you, and I heard you say, "Oh," so you're clearly a little nervous, but this is going to be an easy game, all right?
Okay.
So this is what we call the lightning round, where I just ask some questions, and first thing that comes to your mind, right? First thing that comes to your mind. You ready?
Sure. I've come this far. So.
Yeah, right. You've done great. You've done great. And I'm telling you, the audience is loving this. They're loving getting to hear a bit more about you and your background and just how you think about leadership in this work. So my first question, this is gonna be an easy one. UCLA or USC?
UCLA.
Go Bruins! I'm sorry, audience.
100%.
Yeah. So far we've had primarily Bruins, but what is something that you are thankful for?
My children. If I do nothing else in this world, I have my children.
Love it. Past or present, one of your biggest cheerleaders?
Oh, wow. My children. They really are.
Song or an artist that you've been listening to?
Lizzo.
Nice. That I wouldn't have expected.
Truth hurts. Yeah.
Oh, I love it. I think she's going to be performing like next weekend. So, biggest influences or mentors growing up?
I would say all the women in my family, my mom, my grandmother, my aunts. Yeah, for sure.
A decision you made early in your career that today you look back on and go, that was a pivotal moment, and I made the right choice.
Leaving the county and then coming back.
Favorite food?
Eggs.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna pause. Eggs, like any way, make them any way. Like, are we talking scrambled? Are we talking about poached? We're talking.
If I was on a deserted island, I would want a chicken.
Okay.
So I could have eggs. Yeah, just any which way.
I love it. Passion or hobby that keeps you grounded? We talked a little bit about this, so it may be the same. Some of the same.
Yeah. No, I mean, the puzzles, walking, my faith.
Yeah.
I mean, these are the things that are.
If you weren't doing in your current position and doing what you're doing now, what do you think you'd be doing?
So when I was in high school, I was going to either go to junior college, to the Air Force, or become a police officer. Those were sort of the things that I saw on the horizon. My mom wanted me to be a bank teller because it was air conditioned. You could wear nice clothes and I was good at math. That was what she aspired. So I don't know. I probably would have gone
Right.
in one of those directions.
And mom wanted you comfortable.
She did. She did. Absolutely.
She wanted you
Absolutely.
comfortable. What is something people who know you would be surprised to learn about you?
Um, can't say that. Can't say that.
I know, but.
I think that I'm Catholic,
Okay.
because
Faith.
that is my faith, but
Yeah.
I think people would see so many of my ideas as progressive.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so I think there would be sort of an unsure disconnect
Yeah.
around those things. So I
Yeah.
think that would be.
I'm fascinated. I had the pleasure of sitting on the stage with Pope John Paul for Christmas Mass, and I was literally 10 feet away from him. I just got lucky. And so we just had a new Pope, right? Tell me your thoughts about we got a new Pope that has been decided upon. Any thoughts on?
Oh gosh. Losing Pope Francis, I think, was devastating for many of us because he was such a loving, caring, humble person. The little I know about Pope Leo, like he seems like he's gonna follow in those same footsteps. So seeing people at that level that are so humble and so devoted to service is really inspirational. So my son said the other day, my son is 34. He's like, he could be my pope until I'm in my 60s. Like that. Then, like you're absolutely right. He could.
Age.
So yeah. So I'm excited.
Awesome. Well, that was an easy lightning round, right? Nothing.
Okay.
Oh, God. Hey, look, I learned even a little bit more about you. And so have just a few more closing questions for you. I think we're going to take it back to your field and the people that you are trying to help, because maybe someone here that hears this may have some thoughts, may have some ideas on an issue that you're trying to solve in your field, right? Are there is there a problem in your field that you're working right now to solve and that you're focused on, that your department and your teams are focused on? What would that be?
So I want to talk about what we call transition age youth or emerging adults, especially young people who aged out of the child welfare or probation systems. Both my children are in their early 30s, and I have been their safety net. I have been their springboard. I have their backs 100% for young people who don't have that for whatever circumstances. We are their safety net. We are their springboard. And so I don't want them to feel like if they need support at any point in their lives, that that it's somehow a failure to come, and ask for the support. Because in effect, we function as their parents. Like we're here for them and they deserve that, just like any child in our community deserves that. And so I think that that's a really sort of adaptive challenge that we're trying to it's about messaging. It's about the narrative that we put forth. It's about really garnering support from the entire network of potential supports to be able to wrap around services and support young people so they can do their absolute best in their lives. So that's the one that I would really want to reach out and change that whole narrative and message.
Someone needed to hear that.
Yeah.
Someone absolutely really needed to hear that. I as you were talking about having family, parents, right? I too grew up in two family house, and how many times I had to run back home and ask for help, and the idea that we have so many people in our community who don't necessarily have family to fall back on. One of the things that our county employees, and I always encourage folks in the community to do the same, we have a youth mentorship program, right? Where we encourage our employees to help youth. They can connect with nonprofits in the community and actually spend time with the youth, help them in any number of ways, navigating life. And so as you were talking, I couldn't help but think about the hundreds upon hundreds of our employees who are out there doing it,
Yeah,
and thanking them, right, for doing that, and encouraging others to
absolutely.
also kind of be part of the solution.
And you bring up another important element, and that is our engagement with community, right? Like how connected. I want our offices to be community offices, really connected to all of those potential resources that can benefit people.
What would you, someone who is looking at the pathway that you've kind of taken in your career to get to a department head, right? What would be some advice that you would leave our audience? Not necessarily for your department, but in general.
Yeah, I'm not the person to ask that question to, because there was no intentionality in my becoming a department head. I've never been particularly ambitious. I've always just wanted to be of service, and my life has kind of unfolded in this way. So I guess my advice, and it's what I tell my children, it's like, be proud of your work, do your best, take pride in what you do, and do what you love. And if you do those things, it'll all turn out all right. And that's how it's turned out for me.
Yeah. Yeah. The universe will conspire for good. You do good, and good will happen. Right. I personally like thinking that way. And you're right. Many of the choices in our lives, things line up, and you have to make a decision, and you end up at in pivotal places, and with a pivotal job. And
there's been jobs that I thought I really wanted that I didn't get, and in hindsight, I am so grateful
wasn't for me
that it played out in the way that it did. So absolutely.
Okay, my final question here. So Dr. Contreras, Jackie, tell me, on your first day, what would you tell Jackie on the first day that she started with the county? You're looking back.
So I started with the county as an intern when I was in my graduate program at Augustus Hawkins. I would say explore, do a little research, find out what the county is all about. Because I was in one unit working there. I mean, to me, that was the county. I had no concept of how big the county was, of how many opportunities there could potentially be. And I think it would have been really helpful to kind of have a better understanding of that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, that was it. And I want to again, no. I want to thank you again for the opportunity to get to just talk to you and get to know you a little bit better. I'm telling you, I think our audience has learned a little bit more about you, and our audience certainly will appreciate the person that you are and the contributions that you are making to not only the county, but the lives of the people in the county. Thank you.
I appreciate that. Thank you for taking the time.
No, thank you, Jackie. Appreciate you.